Welcome to the Afrocentric Woman, where our mission is to inspire Black women to heal core wounds and embrace a luxurious and abundant lifestyle. Thank you for joining me. Let's talk, sis.
Hi, ladies. I hope that you all are doing well. I'm coming to you to let you know that I'm going to be covering a public figure who is a narcissist, and his name is Umar Johnson. I know that there are a lot of people covering his various shenanigans, frauds, threats, crimes, scams, and hello, I'm going to start doing it too. My perspective is very unique. I do want to talk about a lot of his narcissistic traits and his sociopathic traits. There are mental health professionals who are involved with covering him, and they are legally not, well, I don't know if it's legally, but at least ethically as it pertains to their profession and their licensure, they're not allowed to talk about anybody's mental illness who they themselves have not diagnosed. I would refer you all over to, there was a council of therapists who actually issued I want to say it was like a paper or an opinion on President Trump's mental instabilities and problems. And I want to say they did this when he was still running for office or very newly in office. And I just remember it being a really big deal because it's quite unprecedented for therapists to comment on individuals' mental health issues without actually seeing them in a private setting and conducting a diagnostic testing and things like that. So I am what you call a layperson. So I am not in the mental health field, so I can say whatever I want. As long as I, feel good about what I'm saying. I have to live with my own words, so I wouldn't say anything that I can't stand 10 toes down in. But I'm not bound by mental health licensure, so I want to talk about his narcissism. I want to talk about his sociopathy, and I don't know what other issues he has. He does struggle with addiction, allegedly, but I don't know. I feel like we kind of have enough information to justify the fact that he does struggle with addiction. So I'm so sorry. I've been really slow to get this video out because I just don't even know where to start. But let me start telling you why I want to follow him, and then maybe I'll do a different video about how I even came to know about Umar, and the times that I've met Umar, and the negative effect that he's had in my city. But let me just start with telling you why I want to cover him. So I knew a long time ago, I'm not going to get into the story, but I knew he was very sexually inappropriate and irresponsible and perverted. I knew that a long time ago through personal observation and information that I was privy to. So I knew that, and a long time ago, maybe around 2012, 2013, maybe somewhat even into 2014, he was promoting polygamy in the Black community. He was really going hard on that. He was doing seminars for women, basically telling them they need to get on board with polygamy, and it was just crazy. He was just trying to be a relationship expert at one point in time, and specifically targeting most of his rhetoric towards Black women. So I am privy to when he came to my town to do one of these women's things, and it was a disaster, and we can talk about that later. But I decided, you know what, I don't like this, but these are grown women, and if this is what they want to do, then it's up to them. I mean, everybody is a grown consenting adult, so I'm gonna stay out of it. And so I just kind of decided just not to talk about it and not really to go hard, because at one point in time I was really, badgering people in my city to please stop bringing him back here, and I was really causing kind of a stink. And to the point where even some of my friends weren't even talking to me, because I'm hating on a black man. He caused a lot of division and confusion, and he does it everywhere he goes. But so I decided to leave him alone. But then once I saw how his behavior and his demeanor over time, I thought to myself, no, this male should never be alone with children. This male, it doesn't have the temperament to be with children. He doesn't have the ability to maintain control of himself. He lacks boundaries. He lacks the respect and honoring of other people's boundaries. He doesn't know when he has crossed the line. And you need that level of self-regulation and self-control when it comes to dealing with children and other people in general, but especially with children, because children are very vulnerable. They're young, they're impersonable, and they're innocent. And the last thing they need is someone who lacks boundaries interfacing with them in a private setting. So that's why I decided, you know what, no, I need to just, speak out and actively, tell people not to support this guy, because he doesn't need to be around children. And then another thing that led me to this conclusion was I was put in a position where I needed to learn a lot about ADHD. Before I was put in a position where I had to learn, I didn't know about the disorder. I really just didn't know. I only had a very cursory understanding. I remember being in school, and I remember there were maybe a handful of boys who were really hyper, and they would get medicine, and that would calm them down. And that's pretty much the extent of everything I knew about ADHD. In fact, I didn't even know it was ADHD until a few years ago. It was ADD, and then it got changed in the diagnostic manual. But before I knew what I know now about ADHD, I just believed what Umar Johnson was saying about it. That it wasn't a real disease, and that it's always, or disorder rather, and it's being used to control parents, and it's not a real disorder. Just all these things, and the medicine and what it does to the body and all of that. And I just kind of was like, okay. I mean, he throws out words that if you don't know them, and he does this in a variety of areas, he'll throw out random words, and it's like, if you don't know what those words are, then you just kind of think, well, this person knows what he's talking about because they're the expert. When in reality, he does not know what he's talking about. Once I delved into the ADHD community, and I delved in, I was listening to podcasts that were run by people with ADHD who also have degrees in mental health, and they were interviewing people about adults, specifically about how they manage their ADHD, people getting diagnosed later in life, how it affects you, what are the medications, how does it work in the body, and I really also delved into the holistic aspect of ADHD, and I learned a lot about food colorings and additives, sugar. There are certain things that can exacerbate ADHD, sleep deprivation, hormonal imbalances. There's just a number of things that I just really delved into learning because I had to. I was put in a position to where I had to. And the more I learned, the more I realized that Umar Johnson does not know what the entire hell he is talking about. He does not know basic concepts of ADHD. And it's so unfortunate. And he villainizes something that is very neutral. ADHD is not the end of the world. It is not a diagnosis to go to hell. It is not a diagnosis to murder you or kill you. And just because you have ADHD doesn't mean you have to take medicine. Like, he has weaponized something that is just so neutral. It's not a big deal. It's just a learning difference. And one thing that I learned is, like, ADHD is a spectrum. It's a spectrum disorder. It's not, and it manifests in different ways in different people. I've been put into a position where I've had to counsel with women who have children with ADHD. And sometimes themselves, the moms, they also have it, but sometimes just dealing with their children who have ADHD, and how can they help their children, and directing them to the proper resources to get assistance, because medicine is not always the answer. And I have my personal views about nutrition and health and lifestyle, but I'm also no judgment. I don't judge, because everybody has to parent their children in a way that they see fit. But I do like to expose people who are in my sphere of influence. I do like to expose them to information that I feel like could be beneficial to them. So, yeah, like I said, the more I learned about ADHD and the more I got involved with the ADHD community, the more I realized he has no idea what he's talking about. And he has convinced so many black people that ADHD is a diagnosis from hell. And if your child is diagnosed with ADHD, that your life is over. And that as long as you just don't get evaluated, then your life will be just fine. Like, he really is against getting your children evaluated for anything. And that's just the craziest thing I've ever heard. And that's another reason why I want to cover him, because he really vilifies mental illness. He vilifies developmental delays, developmental disorders, special education. And it's so crazy. Special education is a neutral thing. It's there to provide assistance for parents whose children need it. It's there to provide assistance for children who need it. And I'm in a position in my professional life where I have to recommend evaluations for certain things sometimes. And I understand parents' frustration and parents' fear of getting their child evaluated for something that they are scared of. They don't know what the diagnosis would mean, or they don't know, well, if I have to get a surgery, like, well, what will happen? And I understand that, and you have to be in a position to reassure parents. And I always would tell the ones that I was working with that this is just information, and this is what you call an evaluation meeting. There's no one that's going to take your child away. There's nobody that's going to, come in and administer something to your child or perform a surgery or procedure right away. This is just for you to get information on this particular problem so that we can rule this one thing out. Or we can rule these things out, or we can see what's going on with your child's anatomy, what's going on with your child's development that may be hindering them in a certain way. And the only way that we can get the information is through going through a professional, a specialist. And it really bothers me that Umar Johnson constantly advises parents to deny their children of specialized care, of getting the proper evaluation so that it can be known what is going on with the child, what is going on with their development. Tools and resources do they need to live a healthy life? And that's very unfortunate. So that is one of the reasons why I want to cover him on this page. And I would like for us to also be aware, because the main source of narcissistic supply that he has is black women. Black women are narcissistic supply to Umar Johnson. And as a black woman who is interested in helping black women heal their core wounds so that they are not exploited by narcissistic people, we will have to focus on some of the women that we do know about and try and understand the mindset behind it and how we can empower and educate black women not to get involved in abusive relationships where they are exploited and used. So this is a start of videos to come on this particular topic. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for sharing your time and attention with the Afrocentric Woman. Special gratitude to our subscribers. If you'd like to stay connected with this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you like this content, please hit the like button. If you have any comments or thoughts about the content shared, please drop down into the comment section and let us know. Remember, you are worthy, you are enough, you are unique, and you are lovable. And I appreciate you.